Isbell swinging in, and it's a fair ball, and Wayzata wins it. Champlin Park back to state for the third straight year.
Hello and welcome to Sports Jam. I'm John Jacobson. Thanks for tuning in.
I'm Jay Wilcox. This week on the show, highlights from some big matchups in girls and boys hockey. Plus, two of the area's best wrestling teams go head-to-head. And in our Sports Jam Spotlight, we'll meet a Wayzata two-sport standout in basketball and soccer.
We'll tip things off with boys basketball in a showdown for first place in the West Division of the Northwest Suburban Conference. Osseo beat Park Center in overtime on January 3rd at Osseo, the Pirates' only loss in the West so far. Round two between these teams took place Friday night on the Pirates' home court. Off a missed three from the corner, the Pirates' DJ Purnell gets the offensive rebound and put back. He scores 6 first-half points. Watch the great spin move by Park Center big man Dane Danger. Hits the jumper here. Sophomore was limited by foul trouble, though. Park Center builds a 9-point lead in the first half. But the Orioles rallied before halftime. No one stops Emmett Page in this drive right down the lane. He scores 15 points in the game. And right before halftime, Zach Tyson misses on the driving layup, but Anthony Williams tips it in right before the buzzer. Williams' bucket gives Osseo its first lead of 32-30. Early second half, Johnson Fala gets a rebound and outlets to Cornell Richardson for the fast break layup, and Osseo eventually goes up by 6. The Pirates would answer with a 19-3 scoring run. Tommy Chapman's jumper ties the game at 43. Then a short time later, it's Danger with a great long outlet pass to Jarius Cook, who lays it in for 2. Balanced scoring for Park Center in the win. The Pirates win a big one, 72-58, tying Osseo for first place in the NWSC West.
We were just slowing down, looking for each other, weren't rushing anything. We were just getting the shots we wanted and they were falling for us.
Well, our coach been preaching to us. We got to put the pressure on them. We came out hungry. They beat us last time by 1, and that just fueled us even more and motivated us even more.
Well, in girls basketball, the North Division of the Northwest Suburban Conference looks like it'll come down to Champlin Park and Centennial battling for the top spot. The Rebels won round 1 at Centennial. The rematch was Friday night at Champlin Park, and it's a much different story. Centennial's Taylor McCauley jumps into the passing lane to get the steal. She gets control and converts the layup, and it's a quick 10-2 lead for the Cougars. Erica Hicks sidesteps the defender and gets the runner to rattle home to pull the Rebels within 14-7. McCauley has a big night. She pops a long 3 from the right wing to extend the Cougars' lead to 22-12. And McCauley attacks the basket as well. She gets to her strong hand here to score the layup on the way to a 25-point night. The Cougars lead 36-27 at the half. And they start the second half on an 11-0 run. Lexi Matthews with the shot fake, and she gets to the bucket for 2 more. It's 47-27. Sarah Stapleton drives it from the wing for 2 more as Centennial beats Champlin Park 71-52 to force a tie for first in the Northwest Suburban North. The Maranatha Christian Academy girls basketball team has played in the past 8 state tournaments. The Mustangs have also racked up some impressive regular season accomplishments. They shot for their 100th straight conference win in the MCAA Saturday night as they faced Lester Prairie Holy Trinity. The Mustangs' Sophia Montgomery passes to a cutting Jacqueline Jarnett for a layup and a 14-8 MCA lead. Kayla Jo Davis forces the Bulldogs into a turnover and passes ahead to Kylie Post for the transition layup. Maranatha goes up by 9. Desiree Ware drives baseline for the Mustangs and passes to a wide open Kai Bartholofton for the layup. Bartholofton scores 13 in the game. MCA leads by 10. Marissa Radke hits a long 3-point buzzer beater at the end of the first half, and that brings the Bulldogs to within 2 at halftime. Maranatha, though, breaks open a close game in the second half. Jarnett hits for 3 on her way to a game-high 27 points. And then more defense leading to offense for the Mustangs. Macy Smith to Brianne Smeestad for the layup. And then in the final seconds, the Maranatha fans have their signs ready as the Mustangs' 78-55 win over Lester Prairie is the 100th straight win for Maranatha in the MCAA.
After a 2-3 start to the season, Wayzata's boys basketball team is on a roll, having won 9 of their past 11 games. Friday night, the Trojans were on the road playing at Lake Conference rival Minneapolis. Jacob Benega with a 3 for Wayzata. The junior has a huge night. Keaton Hyde with a nice bounce pass to Connor Hale, and he scores for a 9-4 Trojans lead. Jalen Deering on the break for Minnetonka. He gets the basket and foul here. Then Andy Stafford leads another skipper's break and takes it himself for the hoop and a 20-15 Tonka lead. Benega goes behind the back and shakes a defender and scores for the Trojans. 28 points in the game for him. Luke Paulson with a catch and shoot three-pointers. Wayzata goes on a run. Benega with another nice drive. It's a tough shot, cutting the Tonka lead to 31-29. Deering answers with a 3 for Minnetonka, but Wayzata rallies in the second half to win 78-74. We'll meet the Trojans' Drew Galinson later in our Sports Jam Spotlight. And the Wayzata girls are now 19-0. The Trojans trounced Minnetonka 65-47. Annika Stewart was one of 3 Wayzata players to score in double figures. She netted 21 points. Wayzata plays at Edina on Friday. With all of their meets far from school sites, Alpine skiers don't get a lot of recognition. They're hard at work, though, preparing for upcoming section meets. At the Northwest Suburban Conference meet, Chisago Lakes is in this conference for skiing. They win the girls' title ahead of Centennial and Blaine. Armstrong is 5th, and Northwest Alpine, consisting of skiers from Osseo, Maple Grove, Park Center, and Rogers, places 6th. Champlin Park is 13th. Chisago Lakes is also the boys' champion. Centennial is 2nd and Anoka 3rd. Armstrong is 7th. Northwest Alpine 8th and Champlin Park 10th. Blake Wall of the Northwest Alpine team finished 2nd in the meet.
So exciting time for them as they get ready for that all-important section meet. It's that day. You got to do it that day. It doesn't matter what you've done before that.
Conference meet for Nordic skiers of this week, just as it drops back to frigid weather later this week. Big matchups in girls and boys hockey are ahead, plus gymnastics and wrestling on Sports Jam in a moment.
Welcome back to Sports Jam. John, the Maple Grove girls hockey team is really playing well.
On a roll, skating very well right now. 4th-ranked Hill Murray visited the number 5 Crimson last week. Good passing here by Maple Grove. Katie Denicky, Julia Pius to Maya Martinez. Manic McMahon bangs at the puck. It's number 14 behind them there. Chloe Corbin, who finally knocks it in to make it 1-0. At the other end of the ice, goalie Lucy Morgan was outstanding. She makes a couple of big saves here on her way to turning away 29 shots on the night. Second period, Maple Grove adds to its lead. McMahon on the rush. Her shot is stopped, but then it goes off the defenseman's skate and in. That goal makes it 2-0 Crimson after 2 periods. Third period, nice work between Tristana Tater and Corbin here. Corbin, a snap off a great shot going high over the goalie and in. That makes it 3-0. Crimson are now on a 14-game unbeaten streak with a 3-1 win.
Yeah, we're very confident, but we know that we have to show up to play, and when we show up to play, that we can execute. Like, our intensity was high, and we started to do the little things like back check and pick up sticks.
In boys hockey, Armstrong Cooper is aiming to repeat as West Division champion in the Northwest Suburban Conference. They hosted Irondale in an important game last week. First period, the Knights up 1-0. Braden Gray's shot is deflected in by Jonah Jangula for a Wings goal, and it's 1-1. AC takes the lead later in the period as Drew eyed down the slot to score. In the second period, the Wings go up by a 3-1 count as Ide tucks in the wraparound for a power play goal here. But Irondale rallies, and in the third period, Eric Reef rifles a slap shot home, and that makes it a 3-3 game. It forces overtime, and it's a thrilling finish as Armstrong Cooper's Eric Schneider scores the game winner as the Wings take it 4-3.
The Wayzata boys hockey team has been playing pretty well in January. The Trojans went for their 6th straight win as they hosted the Breck Mustangs at Plymouth Ice Center. Tristan Nelko gets it to the point, and Tyler Dingman fires. Ike Tarazuski sweeps the rebound in, and it's 1-0 Wayzata. Breck's Will Torgerson gets a chance alone in front, but he's stopped at close range by Sawyer Anderson. That save keeps it 1-0 Wayzata after 1. Second period, Wayzata's Jack Kimlinger gets control and sets up Colin Schmidt. Lyndon Oldness makes the big save. He helps keep Breck Wright in the game with a lot of big stops. Griffin Ness turns a defenseman inside out with a great move, but Oldness is ready and makes another save. He has 42 of them in the game. Early in the third period, Dingman to Carter Anderson. His blast finds the net through traffic. It gives Wayzata a little breathing room at 2-0. With Breck on a power play, they pull Oldness, and the Trojans get one shorthanded as Ness hits the empty net, make it 3-1. Wayzata wins 4-1. They did get shut out by Minnetonka on Saturday.
Now to wrestling. Maple Grove has one of its better teams this season. The Crimson faced a good section opponent. Wayzata and Maple Grove meeting as part of a quad meet at Wayzata. Maple Grove starts fast. Simeon Painter gets the takedown and near fall on his way to an 8-5 win over Parker Wolf at 120 pounds. Grove leads 12-0 after 3 matches. Wayzata takes over for a bit. Cole Ciardelli sits back hard on the cradle and pins David Grant in the 126-pound match to get the Trojans on the board. In a matchup of ranked wrestlers at 138, Wayzata's Mitchell Hogue gets the takedown on the way to an 8-4 decision over Gavin Peterson as Wayzata goes in front 15-12. Wayzata has a 24-18 lead through 170, but Maple Grove closes strong. Evan Hall pins Gage Knutson in the 182-pound match to tie it at 24-all. After a Crimson win by Isaac Bamer at 195, Adam Skogman gets the fall to beat Max Spunning at 220 pounds. Maple Grove wins the last 4 matches, 3 of them by pin, to win at 40-24.
In gymnastics, section meets are less than 3 weeks away now. Although in the same conference, Hopkins and Wayzata compete in different sections. 2 teams met last week, though, in a Lake Conference dual meet. Coach Megan Johnson's Hopkins team scoring this year at a higher level than the past several seasons. Ketal Price of Hopkins records the Royals' high score on the vault. He scores an 8.85 for this one. Only one vault score was higher in the meet. Wayzata's lone senior this year, Madeline Tapper, scores a 9.275. Tapper also won all around for the meet. To the uneven bars, and the Trojans' Grace Trainer, the 2-time state qualifier, competed in 3 events in this meet and won them all, including bars with a score of 9.575. Grace's sister, Izzy Trainer, finished 3rd overall on the balance beam. Izzy lands with a solid score of 8.8. Hopkins' Kay Murphy finishes 2nd on the beam. Murphy's routine earns her a mark of 9.05. Grace Trainer records the meet's top score in the floor exercise. She scores a 9.60 here. Wayzata wins the meet 139.45 to 134.85 for Hopkins.
True Team state championships were on the line for the top boys swimming and diving teams. In Class AA, Minnetonka is pretty dominant to win the meet with nearly 2,500 points. Stillwater is 2nd, and the lone local entrant, Wayzata, with a strong showing to take 3rd place ahead of another Lake Conference team, Edina. And congratulations to Breck Blake as the Bear Stangs win the Class A True Team meet. St. Thomas Academy is 2nd, followed by Northfield and Sartell St. Stephen. Daniel Barra of Breck Blake wins the 100 butterfly. Their 200 medley relay team also won their event. And John, I know that's kind of a favorite of yours.
That True Team. They had a lot of great competition last week down at the University of Minnesota. Straight ahead here in our Sports Jam Spotlight, meet a Wayzata 2-sport star who is excelling on the basketball court this winter. Wayzata won a state championship in boys soccer this past fall and a rare section title in boys basketball last winter. In this week's Sports Jam Spotlight, we meet the only Wayzata player who was part of both. It's a new role on the basketball court for Drew Galinson. The senior is a captain this year after the graduation of 7 seniors from last year's section championship team. The wins haven't come quite as easily either, but the Trojans are 11-5 so far.
It's different. I wouldn't call it tougher because there were learning curves last year. Our record just didn't really show it as much as this year, but learning curves are going to happen. So it all matters how we play in March, and I think we're starting to figure it out.
I mean, he's had to step up. We lost 7 seniors from last year's team, and he's had to score more. We still have some guys that can score that were on last year's team as well, but he's had to score more, and he's had to lead a little bit more. And Drew's comfortable doing that. We see him do it every day here at school, in the halls and in classes.
Last year was special for Wayzata basketball. Galinson will shoot it and hit. The Trojans finished 28-4 as the team qualified for state for the first time since 1959.
I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday, if that speaks for itself. It was probably top 10 moment of my life for sure. Just not any moment in particular, but just doing what that team did. It was just an honor to be a part of it. I mean, I've learned more in that season about not only basketball, but just like teamwork on and off the court and how important chemistry is, because we were all great friends. And I'm just, as a captain, I'm trying to teach them what those seniors taught me. And yeah, I've learned so much from them.
Galinson is a 2-year starter. The guard is an excellent outside shooter and averages around 14 points per game. He's a good defender too, a player that can be tough to prepare for. Armstrong's Greg Miller coached Drew in his younger days of traveling basketball.
Always very good shooter, just very smart player and very tenaciously competitive, and that hasn't changed. Now it seems like he's kind of their glue guy. He settles them down. You know, they got some guys that are really hyper-kinetic how they play, and he's a little more smooth than some of those guys, and I think that really is a big value to their team.
While basketball is his first love, it's not the only sport that Drew excels in.
Header and a goal, and we're tied up. Galinson.
The senior was a captain and an all-state defender for the Trojans in soccer. In November, the team brought home the school's 3rd state championship in boys soccer.
Winning state was just like, it was like a dream come true is an understatement, because like the reason you play high school sports is to win state. So just, it was an accumulation of all that hard work that me and my team put in, and just seeing it pay off was incredible.
He understands the game, reads it very well out of the back for us. Huge impact on the field defensively in the back. And then also on our set pieces. He scored a great amount of goals in his 3-year varsity career on set pieces for us.
Drew competed at an elite level in soccer, despite the fact that he doesn't play the sport in the off-season.
High school is the only time I play soccer, so that's kind of a rarity in high school soccer, especially at the varsity level. But I mean, my coaches just trust that I'll get the rust off in a couple weeks and get back at it.
Surprising to some, and with offers to play either or both sports in college, Drew will give up soccer and basketball next year, concentrate on school as he enrolls at the University of Minnesota.
My whole life, sports have just been a part of me. A lot of people think that I wanted to pursue sports in college, but a dream of mine was just going to a big school, focusing on education, so I'm going to the University of Minnesota next year.
For now, Drew will enjoy these final 7 weeks of high school basketball, loving the charge he gets out of playing in front of friends and fans.
I love playing in front of people. I love feeding off other people's energy, and I love, like, last year was a great example. This year we're having moments, but when a team is working together, there's just nothing better, and everything's flowing, and it's beautiful.
Drew will study physical therapy at Minnesota. He did say he does plan on playing intramural basketball at the U. Jay talks girls basketball with the Park Center Pirates when Sports Jam returns.
Welcome back to Sports Jam. The Park Center girls basketball team having a pretty solid season and leading the West Division of the Northwest Suburban Conference as we get late into the season. We're joined by a couple of their younger players today, and also Coach Barb Metcalf, and we'll start with Aaliyah Ragulen. You know, how much fun has it been to be a part of this team and having some success this year as you guys are?
It's been a lot of fun, especially working with 2 great captains and Kayla right here. Everyone's hardworking and it's fun, yeah.
Yeah, it's a mixture of, you've got some players who've been on the team for a long time, some seniors, but also a lot of young talent. Has that been a pretty good blend to have on the team?
Yeah, I played with both of them last year on JV, so it's like coming up with them is fun, and working with them as we get better is good.
Not every game has been smooth sailing, but you've played some really good teams. You know, how much does it help you to have played some of the, Centennials and Wayzatas and Hopkins, teams like that?
Games like that just make us better. We work very hard playing games like that, and can't wait.
In this week ahead, I know a pretty big one coming up against Champlain Park. They were over here at your tournament, but you didn't play them then. At that time, how big of a game is that? How much do you know about that team?
It's going to be a pretty big game, but if we just do what we always do and work hard and play tough, I think we can get them.
All right, thanks for joining us. Good luck the rest of the season here. And Kayla Cox, what do you like about this team right now?
I like how we all are close with each other and we play hard together and we work and just get together, come together.
You guys have definitely played a lot of good teams, like I was saying. Some of them have been wins. The first one over Maple Grove was definitely a big win. Do you learn from the good opponents, whether it's a win or a loss?
Yeah, I mean both. When we're winning by a lot, we work on stuff that we need to work on, and it's a close game. We have to dig in there and play defense.
What has to happen down the stretch for you guys to be back in the state tournament, would you say?
I think playing defense and get on the boards and hustling for everything and knocking down the shots we usually take.
All right, good luck the rest of the season here.
Yeah, thank you.
And Coach Metcalf, new to the program this year, but what are you liking about this Pirates team right now?
Liking everything about these girls. Those two that you just heard from, they're sophomores, and what I really love about those two is their sparks coming off the bench. They are really defensive dynamos for us, and I love the fact that they played with the older girls, the senior captains, and you know what? They just make each other better. They're positive on the floor and with each other on the court and off the court, and they're really a coach's dream to coach.
You guys had one of the best teams in the state, Wayzata, on the ropes here. It ends up being a tough loss, but still, were you pretty proud of what you saw and how much you can learn from that game too?
Oh, you bet. And like I told the kids, we're only going to get better from that. And the nice thing about it is we're not peaking yet. And we played Wayzata very hard at home here. Definitely could have went either way. Unfortunately, didn't quite go our way. But we definitely took some, tidbits from it, and we're going to move on. And basically, our mentality is one game at a time and get better from it.
I know you've got a couple other opponents mixed in too, but Champlain Park on a Thursday in the week ahead, and then the following week Maple Grove. How crucial are those games for section and conference rankings for you guys?
We can control what we can control, and right now taking one game at a time, doing well with that. We got to just make sure that we stay healthy because it's a long season, and we got to finish the season strong.
Barb, thanks for joining us, and best of luck the rest of the way. It's going to be a fun section tournament, I know that.
It's going to be a fun one. Thanks so much.
All right, Barb Metcalf, the head coach of the Park Center girls basketball team. They lead the West Division of the Northwest Suburban Conference. A crucial game coming up next week against Maple Grove for their conference title hopes. We'll be back to wrap up Sports Jam, but first, it's a look at our plays of the week.
Tough one to hang on. She gets it to Fields, though, and the layup is good.
Steal for Park Center.
We call that the John Jacobson dunk special right there.
Look at that. Wow, that was absolutely gorgeous.
Don't miss the Maple Grove Polar Plunge to support Special Olympics on Saturday, February 3rd. Find out more at ccxmedia.org under Cities and in the Community. Visit the West Metro Remodeling Fair on Sunday, February 11th to get the latest home fix-up ideas. Find out more at ccxmedia.org under Cities and in the Community.
Our game of the week is a big Lake Conference boys hockey matchup as Wayzata hosts Edina in the team's first meeting of the season. The game is Thursday at 7 o'clock at Plymouth Ice Center. Watch it live on CCX channels 799 and 12 and online at ccxmedia.org. It also replays Friday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 4 p.m.
And that will do it for this week's show.
We're almost to playoff time for a few winter sports, and conference titles will be decided as well. We will see you next time here on Sports Jam.